Hey, Aaron Topping here. I want to talk about how telepathy is now a reality thanks to the advancements made in the brain machine interface and the software making it possible. And so imagine just by staring at your computer screen, you were able to control your computer mouse with just your thoughts alone. Well, for decades, this was science fiction. That is no longer the case. On the very first day a patient tested their newly implanted Neuralink brain chip device, it didn't just work. They were able to shatter the world record for cursor control speed. And that's exactly what happened with Nolan Arba, the very first Neuralink patient, after surgery to implant his N1 Neuralink chip on January 2024. He's paralyzed from the shoulders down. This isn't just a clunky proof of concept. This is a life-changing high performance from day one testing after surgery. So WebGrid here that you see is software used to test BCI or brain computer interface performance. The way it works is you can make a grid as big or small as you want, and in that grid a single box will light up. And the goal is to click targets on the grid as fast as possible while minimizing misclicks. It is a way to benchmark how good a BCI is by measuring the speed at which it can perform. This is a really important area of software design, as there is very little software that's been written to test BCI capabilities because there was really never much of a need to previously before. Now, the idea of a BCI is not entirely new. We've had devices that could read brainwaves for decades, but they were kind of like dial-up internet in the 5G world. So this is an evolution of that technology, and the leap forward here is only made possible because of the advancements in robotics and surgical hardware and just technology in general. So a specialized robot inserts 1,024 electrode threads with inhuman precision, making high bandwidth connections possible. Each electrode from the chip is only 1/5 the width of a human hair. So as you can imagine, no matter the talent of the neurosurgeon, that kind of precision is only possible because of robotics. And so this implant is completely wireless, allowing the patient to be untethered. It sits under the skin, connects by Bluetooth, and it even charges inductively through the skin, typically while you sleep, though you can while you're awake. A single charge will power the chip for the entire day. But the implant is only for data transmission. The real magic, the part that makes it all possible, is the software. It's the software that has to listen to all 1,024 neural signals and determine the intention of the user. The software is the brain's translator. Now, Neuralink software acts as a universal translator between the brain and any digital device. It decodes brain signals into standard digital commands using machine learning, so users can control computers, phones, or even robotic limbs directly with their thoughts. There is no need for custom software needed for each device. Because every brain is unique, each patient must first train the Neuralink to recognize their specific brain signals. They do this by thinking about moving, like imagining their hand moving left or clicking a mouse. So the software can learn to match those patterns with actions. This calibration only takes about 15 minutes. Now, over time, something unexpected and amazing happened. Neuralink patients no longer had to attempt to move a limb. They just had to picture the cursor and imagine it moving. In Nolan's words, he described the feeling as using the force, as pure telepathy. So this leap from action to intent is everything. It allowed them to move beyond a single click and begin mapping neurons for an entire hand. They can translate the thought of a whole hand's movement into a virtual limb. And if you can translate the movements into a virtual limb, you can translate that to robotic control. Now, where do we go from here? Well, right now we're at 1,024 nodes in the motor cortex, but that's just the start. The plan is to eventually get to 30,000 plus nodes using multiple implants in different brain regions. Now, beyond motor control and speech, there are plans to implant in the visual cortex that could one day feed data to a blind person's brain, restoring sight. This final goal is to create a high bandwidth interface for the entire brain, all made possible by relentlessly improving the software that learns, calibrates, and translates. Now, in just 18 months, they have gone from taking 6 months between patients, where they are now capable of implanting patients weekly. They've proven that the hardware works. This is now a physical cable between mind and machine. The future of this technology will not be written just in operating rooms, but in the lines of code. So I want to wrap this up with some final words from Nolan.
I mean, when I first actually moved the cursor with my mind, it blew my mind for like a whole day. And to be helping, to be able to be useful in some way, it completely changed how I live.